Good morning. It is Rick Vega of the Rick Vega Mortgage Team. It is time for the Rick Vega Mortgage Show. It is, Tuesday, November 18th. And I do my mortgage show every weekday morning starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on TikTok. Looking to see what rates are looking like today. One of the things I always do. Mortgage-backed securities are up 26, which is good. That's good to see that. And the 10-year Treasury is down 0.043, which when the U.S. Treasury is down and the mortgage-backed securities are up, that means mortgage interest rates should be coming down. So it's looking positive today for interest rates to be coming down. Don't know how much, but right now on the nationwide average, we are looking at interest rates of, let's see. What I do is I go to Mortgage News Daily. I look at the top four interest rates, which are basically their FHA, conventional, jumbo, and VA loans, and add those together and divide it by 4, just to give you a basic understanding of where the interest rate is. And right now we are at 6.2. 6.2. We went up to 6.20 or 22 yesterday, came back down now today to 6.2. As I've been saying for the last, oh goodness gracious, last 12 weeks, 2 or 3 months, we're bouncing between 6.125 and 6.4, and we are sitting towards the lower portion of that. Actually, as of late, it's been bouncing around 6 1/8 to 6.3, so a little bit tighter window than it has been in the past. So, you know, if you are in the market to buy a home or considering refinancing, you know, it's still a good time. You know, the 3-year low is 6 1/8. We're just a little bit off the 3-year low, but we are at a 2-month high. Yesterday we hit a 2-month high, but still, that just shows you we're popping around right in that little bit of a window of 6 1/8 to 6.3 or so. Hey, Loretta Monroe, thanks for joining a Rocky Jam 27. Appreciate you guys joining the show. My name is Rick Vega. I am a mortgage broker. What's the difference between a mortgage broker and a mortgage banker? Well, a mortgage broker represents a lot of lenders. I represent over 150 different residential mortgage lenders, plus an additional 300 or so different hard money lenders, commercial lenders, and private money lenders. So if you have a loan you're looking for, well, I pretty much have a lender that can do it, right? Whether you're looking to build a home, construct a home, refinance a home, buy an investment property, buy land, buy a barn home, buy a hobby ranch, or whatever you're looking to do, I can typically help you. Rocky Jam 27, I'm looking, but in a tight spot. Just paid off debt, now trying to get into the next year taxes. Okay, so you've paid off all your debt, which is great. It's always great when you can do that. And now you're looking to do your 2024 taxes. Or 2025 is not due until next year, of course. You're still trying to get your 24 taxes done there, Rocky Jam. And BB 1982, thank you for joining the show. I appreciate it. And Big Daddy Django, thank you for joining the show. I appreciate it. Again, my name is Rick Vega. I'm a mortgage broker here in sunny Southwest Florida, in case you don't know. You've already paid your 23 taxes. So now you're putting together your 2024 taxes, I suspect. Rocky Jam 27. Because when you are applying for a mortgage, typically we're going to request from the IRS your tax transcripts to show that your taxes have at least been filed. Right, so you would just need to get your 2024 taxes filed, Rocky Jam 27, in order to be able to apply for a mortgage for your standard conventional loans, like your conventional loan or FHA or VA or USDA loans. You're going to need to have those. So once you do file, and if there is a tax due, you either got to show that the tax has been paid or that you've set up a payment plan for that tax. Right, so that's what you would need to do if you're looking to apply for a home in the near future. Does that make sense, Rocky Jam? Oh, so you paid 24, so you're good. So you're good. So if you've done all that, then what's the tight spot that you're in? Rocky GM, you said you were in a tight spot, so you paid off your debt. Your taxes are current. So are you short of funds to close? In other words, don't have money for a down payment or closing costs because you paid your debt down? What's your situation? Just trying to get all the info I can to be able to help you. Also, folks, I do this show every weekday morning starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. I go from 9 to about 10 a.m. Sometimes I go a little bit longer. Sometimes I go a little bit less, all depending upon how many people are on the show. So you're trying to get something before 25 tax. Okay. First of all, where are you located, Rocky GM? What state are you in? Want to make sure first that we can help you. We're licensed in 48 out of the 50 states here in the U.S. The only 2 states we're not in is New York and Hawaii right now, but we should be in those 2 states here by the end of the year. So that's a good thing. So you're looking at North Carolina. Okay, we can help you there in North Carolina. How much money do you have for a down payment, Rocky GM? Because keep in mind, there are a lot of down payment assistance programs out there. We do have, hey, Loan Liaison, thanks for joining the show. We do have two down payment or zero down loans. You got the VA loan right now. If you're a veteran, you have the VA loan, which is zero down loan. And you also have USDA, which is United States Department of Agriculture, which has a zero down program that helps you buy a home in more rural areas, right? Not necessarily out in the sticks, but, not in urban areas, right? More suburban to urban areas is where you can use the USDA loan. So, and then, of course, Rocky, there are down payment assistance programs out there that will cover your 3.5% down payment on an FHA or 5% on a conventional loan. So you could look into those depending upon what your financial situation is, your credit, and so on and so forth, right? So there are some opportunities there for you on down payment assistance. And then if you don't have the money for the closing costs, then you can ask the seller to cover your closing costs. In a lot of markets, there are sellers that are open to doing that. Got great credit. So I think you'd probably be a pretty good candidate for down payment assistance programs. And then if you ask the seller to cover your closing costs, which on an FHA loan, they can do up to 6%. And on a conventional loan, depending upon how much you put down, you could get as much as 9% in seller paid closing costs on a conventional loan. I learned that yesterday. That was something new. But typically it's 3% on a conventional loan if you are asking for a seller credit to help cover your closing costs. So that's something to think about. So there are ways that you can connect with me, and this is to you, Rocky. You can follow me, right? Follow me and shoot me a direct message. That's probably the least effective way, but you can do that. You can also go into my profile, and if you go into my profile and hit my link tree, there's a calendar link there that you can then go into my calendar and book a 30-minute, no obligation, free loan consultation with me. Right there in my link tree, just go into my profile, click the link tree, and then you can schedule it. It's right there at the top of the link tree is my calendar. And then sometimes, and I don't know why, TikTok will not put the Service Plus button in the lower left-hand corner of my live stream here. There should be a little yellow button that is the Service Plus button. And if you click that, it pops up and you can leave me your contact information and I can call you that way. Can anybody confirm if that little yellow button is there in the lower left-hand corner? If it is, great. That means it's there today. It wasn't there yesterday. Hopefully it's there today. And those are the ways that you can connect with me, all right? So you can go to the link tree, schedule a call with me. You can hit the Service Plus button if it's there, or you can give me a follow, and we can connect that way as well, okay? Oh, awesome, it's there. So, Rocky, you can also click that and just give me your contact information, and I can reach out to you, and we can talk about getting you pre-approved for looking for a home there in North Carolina. And the way that works, when we pre-approve you here at the Rick Vega Mortgage Team, we don't even have to do a hard pull. We do a soft pull on your credit report, so it has no effect on your credit score. And then we have underwriters on staff here at the One Brokerage, and then we will underwrite your loan based on the information you provided. So you fill out your application, and then you give us the documentation like your pay stubs, W-2s, bank statements, all that kind of stuff to underwrite you as the borrower. We do that, and then we give you a true pre-approval letter that you can go out and share with the seller, right, to show that you are actually pre-approved. You've been underwritten, you've been reviewed by an underwriter, and it shows us and it shows the seller that you are good to go. Then the only thing we have to do is get the appraisal and the title working so we can close the loan. Makes it a very quick and simple closing process. So That is something really, really important to take in mind. A lot of lenders will not do a true pre-approval and underwrite you until you have a home under contract. We don't do it that way. We underwrite you before you have a home under contract. So yeah, that is pretty nice, isn't it, Rocky Jam? So, and we all do it for free without a hard pull on your credit report. Now, when you do go forward and get a house under contract, we have to convert that soft pull to a hard pull, but we don't do that until you have a house under contract and you get ready to move forward. All right. So that's a great benefit of working with me, is that you can truly get pre-approved. Okay. I've been doing this about 10 years, and I said here at the top of the hour, I'm in Southwest Florida. I'm in a city called Sarasota. If you're familiar with it, it's about 40 miles south of Tampa. Right here on the coast, as the crow flies, I'm about a mile from Siesta Key, if you guys are familiar with that area. Hey, Yellow Candy 04, thanks for joining the show. I appreciate it. But my team and my broker were licensed all over the country, 48 out of the 50 states. So if you're in a state that we're licensed in, we can help you. My team and my broker together, we can help you. So happy to discuss anything with any of you about what's important to you. If you're looking to buy a home like Rocky Jam was looking to do there in North Carolina, if you're considering refinancing, hey, where interest rates are right now, could be a great time to refinance, especially if you have a government loan like an FHA loan or a VA loan in the sixes. Right now, as of late, I've been quoting for government loans like FHA and VA rates in the low fives for a lot of my borrowers. So, depending upon what your situation is, you could get a rate like that as well. So we'd have to see. Not everybody is the same, but just letting you know that when you hear me talk about a nationwide average rate of 6.2%, that's a nationwide average of all different kinds of lenders, all different kinds of borrowers, and all different kinds of loan products, right? But me specifically as a broker, I'm quoting rates quite a bit lower than the national average. So you could potentially save a lot of money off your monthly payment if you were to refinance, because you could maybe you could cut your rate by as much as a full point, if not more. So we'd have to find out. And you can do that by connecting with me, and we can go over your situation. Okay. Also, like Rocky has done, if you haven't followed me, please follow me. When you follow me, I'm able to then get my content delivered into your feed every day. And I do at least 2 posts every day. I'll do a mortgage tip of the day, which kind of talks a little bit about something that goes on in the mortgage process that you need to be aware of, things you need to think about when you're considering a mortgage and considering a lender and considering a loan officer, more importantly. And also I do a mortgage market update every day where I talk about what's going on with interest rates. I talk about what's going on with the housing market and how it affects you, right? So it's information that is going to benefit you each and every day. All right. So if you follow me, you get all that kind of information. And I think it's an informed borrower is a smart borrower, and a smart borrower saves money, right? So things to think about. Hey, Christina, thank you for joining the show. I appreciate it. My name is Rick Vega. I am a mortgage broker, and I am right here in sunny Southwest Florida. I represent about 150 different lenders, which means I can tailor a loan to your specific needs and to your situation. So there's no cookie cutter here, no cookie cutter type loans. Hey, 100% Gusano and John, the producer, thanks for joining the show. I appreciate it. This is the Rick Vega Mortgage Show. Here we talk about mortgages. We talk about buying a home. We talk about financing a home. We talk about refinancing a home. We talk about all different kinds of loan products. We talk about whatever you want to talk about when it pertains to that. GSO 7307. Thanks for joining the show. I appreciate it. I do this show every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on TikTok. And I answer your questions. I talk about what's going on in the industry. I talk about what's going on in the market and changes that are taking place. Like just this week, it was announced, and it started, where on conventional loans, a credit score is no longer required to qualify. You heard that right. No longer do you have to have a credit score to qualify for a conventional loan. You still have your guidelines that you have to meet in order to qualify for a conventional loan. So just because you don't have a credit score doesn't mean you're going to qualify. But they no longer use a credit score as one of the qualifying criteria, which is interesting to see. We're going to have to see as things progress how that changes things in the market. But as of now, there's no longer a need to have a credit score to qualify for a conventional loan. Still need it for an FHA or VA loan. FHA, the minimum score is 580, but no longer. It used to be 620 for a conventional loan, but they no longer require that. So that's kind of interesting. So, does anyone have any questions about what we've been talking about? Hey, 358 Jay Rivera, thanks for joining the show. I appreciate it. My name is Rick Vega. Oh, excuse me. I'm a mortgage broker right here in Florida, and I do this show every weekday morning starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on TikTok. I take your questions. We talk about what's going on in the housing market. We talk about what's going on across the country. The average price, sales price for a home here in the United States right now is $392,000. Hey, L Boogie 25, how you doing? So yeah, $392,750 is the average sales price for a home here in the United States of America. That is actually up a little bit from the previous update of $379, but down from the one about 3.5-4 months ago that was $422,000. So we are seeing home prices come down a bit. I was just reading an update before the show this morning that was talking about how home prices will continue to come down, but not at a high level, right? So we're not going to see a great reduction in home prices, but I think we will see a bit of a reduction in home prices as well as interest rates. That is going to make it hopefully more affordable for many buyers to get back in the market. One thing to consider when buying a home, and I talked about this with a previous visitor to the live stream, is one of the ways you can make a home more affordable in this market, especially in this market right now, is asking the seller for a credit, a seller concession at closing. So instead of going in and saying, okay, I'd like you to reduce your home by $20,000, I'll make an offer of $20,000 under asking price. Instead of doing that, ask for a seller credit. Ask for a $20,000 seller credit, and then use that credit at closing to cover your closing costs and buy down your interest rate. Those two things can make the home more affordable, and you're getting the same effect, and the seller's getting the same effect as of just reducing the price by $20,000. But now you're getting that cash at closing to reduce your cost and reduce your monthly payment by reducing the interest rate. It's a great concept. It's a great strategy, and I don't think enough people take advantage of that. And if you're a seller, instead of going to your agent and saying, okay, we need to move this house, I want to drop the price $20,000, don't drop the price of your house, but put in your description that you will cover closing costs for the buyer. That'll get a lot of people looking at your home. And the more people look at your home, the better chance you have of selling it, right? So strategies that you need to implement in order to buy a home or sell a home can greatly, greatly make that home more affordable or more enticing to buyers to buy it, right? Al, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop those questions in the comment box. I am here to answer any questions you might have, regardless of what the question, as long as it's related to mortgages or buying a home or something like that. Hey, Link General, thanks for liking the live and following me. I appreciate that. If you do follow me, you will be able to get my content. I do a mortgage market update every afternoon where I talk about what's going on with interest rates and what's going on in the housing market and how it affects you. Then I also do some other posts. I'll do a mortgage tip of the day, some tidbit of information, a little bit of knowledge to help you understand the process a little better, because I always believe a knowledgeable buyer is a smart and more effective buyer when they come to buy a home, right? So the more knowledge you have, the more power you have, right? So you'll get that in my mortgage market updates. You'll get that with my mortgage tips of the day. And then I do some other stuff where I'll do some posts about what's going on in the industry and in the market. So you get that when you follow me. So please give me a follow. You can also like my live. All you got to do is tap that screen, tap, tap, tap. You tap that screen and that gives me a like. The algorithms like that, and it'll get my show out to more people, which is always an important thing to do, right? The more people I can help, the better off we are. Junaid Bouyan, did I say that right? I hope so. Well, you left, so I don't know if I did. And ZA Farm NYC, did I say that right? Zafarn NYC. I suspect you're in New York City. Thank you for joining the show. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And there we go. Rad8675. How long does an average appraisal take? So when you first start a loan process, we order the appraisal. So that's the first thing that has to take place. We order the appraisal. Then the buyer would pay for the appraisal. Once the appraisal is paid for, because it has to be prepaid, once the appraisal is paid for, it is then scheduled, okay? Once it is scheduled, it usually takes anywhere from, depending upon how busy it is in the market, right? Anywhere from 3 to 7 days before, maybe even longer, right? Especially in a really busy market, which we're not in a really busy market right now. So probably closer to this 3 days as opposed to the 7 to 10. And then once the inspection takes place, you usually have, 5 business days for the appraiser to get the report back to you, right? So with that being said, the whole process from the time it's ordered to the time you get it back is usually anywhere from 7 to 14 days. Right now in this environment where we don't have, it's not a really red hot market, you're probably closer to the 7 days, okay? I suspect you just had an appraisal done and you're wondering when you're going to get it back. So I would look for it in the next week or so if you just had it done. Zafar NYC, good morning. Well, good morning to you as well. Where can I find mortgage for low-income first-time home buyer in New Jersey? Well, in New Jersey, first of all, we are licensed in New Jersey, so I could help you with that, Zafar NYC. If you're looking for a down payment assistance program, we do have many, both on the national level and the state level, down payment assistance programs for both low-income and high-income individuals, right? So if you're looking to buy your first home and you need down payment assistance, we do have some great programs that I can share with you that would be available there in New Jersey. If you would like to receive my help, all you got to do is give me a follow or hit that Service Plus button in the lower left-hand corner of this live stream. You're going to see a Service Plus button. You click that, you give me your contact information, and I can reach out to you. Or the best way is for you to go into my profile, click my Linktree link at the top, and then go into my Linktree and go into my calendar link at the very top of that, and you can schedule a 30-minute loan consultation with me. And there you're going to have my undivided attention for 30 minutes. There's no obligation, there's no cost, but we can go through everything. I can answer all your questions, and I can even let you know what you could qualify for and what down payment assistance programs you could potentially qualify for. So a real simple and easy process there, Zafar NYC. If I'm reading that, or that's Zapham YC. Kind of hard to read, but either way, that would be the best way. So I'd love to be able to help you. Okay. But yeah, there's a lot of great down payment assistance programs out there for first-time buyers and low-income buyers. Okay. Let's see. Any other questions that we have? My name is Rick Vega and Sunny Star. Thanks for joining the show. And La Boo Boo. Hey, thanks for coming back on. I've seen you join us before. And Joel 2097. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Zafar. I look forward to hopefully helping you. Hey, Big Mike, thanks for joining. Hogan, Joel 2097, Marie, I appreciate you guys jumping on. I'm a mortgage broker, so I represent over 150 different lenders across the country, as well as an additional 300 or so commercial lenders, hard money lenders, private lenders, all different entities to be able to help you, the buyer, get the financing you need to buy your home or investment property or vacation home or commercial building or whatever you need to buy. I can help you do it. All right. Me and my team can help you do it. I have a team of loan officers that work with me as well and brokers that we can work together in any state except for New York and Hawaii, but we'll be in those two states by the end of the year. So by the end of the year, we'll be able to help you no matter where you are, which I'm really excited about. So please don't be shy. If you got a question, drop it in the comment box. If you've been thinking about buying a home and you got some questions about that, there is no stupid questions here on the Rick Vega Mortgage Show. There are 0 stupid questions. There are no bad questions. If you want to find out what you could qualify for, I could do that right here on my calculator. I could tell you exactly what you qualified for if you just gave me a little bit of information. Hey, Michael 14, thanks for joining. And if you wanted to know what your interest rate might be, I could let you know kind of where we are on interest rates. Mark Weaver, what about Ohio? Can you do help with buying a home or a warehouse to turn it into a home? That's interesting. Short answer, yes. Yes, we can help you in Ohio. It'd be interesting to see taking a warehouse and turning that into a home, but we could talk about that. Yeah, we could talk about that. Um, I've heard of turning a barn, those barn dominiums, right? A lot of people are doing that, but taking a warehouse, that would be cool. That would be kind of cool. So yeah, if you want to talk about that, Mark, we can talk about that. And if you want to, it's a loft warehouse overlooks the lake. Ooh, it looks sounds nice. Less than 50 feet away. Oh, nice. That could be really really cool. Um, yeah, we could. Now the warehouse would definitely be a commercial loan. That'd be the way you'd have to acquire the warehouse, and then you'd have to acquire the financing. Then to hey, Mila, thanks for joining again. You would have to then get financing to actually do the conversion to a residential or to at least a the housing unit. But yeah, we could probably help with that. No, in fact, there's no probably about it. I'm confident we could help with that. So if you would like to, follow me and reach out to me, we can do that way, Mark. Or you can schedule a 30-minute loan consultation with me by going into my link tree on my profile and clicking that calendar link and schedule a call with me. It's in Cleveland. It's zone Z4 for business residential because it is less than 50 feet from the lake. Okay, then perfect. Yeah, we could probably because zoning is always important, but we could put together a package for you. One of the great things about being a mortgage broker is I can take that scenario, right? That scenario that Mark has given me, and I can send it out to my 300 plus commercial lenders that I work with, as well as my 150 plus residential lenders, and say, this is the scenario, who can do this, and what's it going to look like? And boom, I'll have anywhere from 1 to 100 different lenders come back to me and say, yeah, I can do that. This is what it's going to look like. And then we start to be able to find out the one that best suits your needs, right? It's a great thing about being a broker. Whereas if you worked for just one bank, you can only do with what that one bank can do, right? So, interesting thing, Mark, and would love to be able to see what we can do for you. All right. Um, so yeah, if you got any other comments or questions or anything, don't hesitate to drop them in the comment. That's what I'm here for, to answer any questions you might have. And please don't forget to like my show and to follow me on right here on TikTok so you can get my feeds, my content into your feed, I should say. Will rates drop by January? Well, C's 1115. That's a great question, and I think when you say drop, I don't think we're going to see any precipitous drop in interest rates by January. Most of the people that I follow, most of the economists that I follow, that follow my industry, the mortgage industry, and mortgage interest rates in particular, are all pretty much saying that we're going to be bouncing between 6.125 and 6.4% over the course of the next year, actually. So rates dropping by January, is going to be pretty, unless something dramatic happens, which I don't anticipate. I don't see rates dropping much at all. I think we're going to be sitting right about where we are on the nationwide average, which is about 6.2% come January, right? So if you're thinking about, you've been thinking about buying a home, and you're waiting for rates to drop to do that, that's I don't think that's a great strategy, because I don't think they're going to be dropping, right? My strategy is always this: if you find a house you like, if you find a house that meets your needs, you find a house that has the right number of bedrooms, right number of bathrooms, you know what I mean, and you can afford it. In other words, where rates are today, you can afford the monthly payment. It doesn't break your budget. It's affordable. Then you buy the house, because if rates do drop eventually enough where it makes sense, then you refinance. So you got the house at the right price, and then you got the house at the right rate, right? Because if rates do drop considerably, home prices are going to go up, because more people are going to come into the market, and when more people come into the market, there's higher demand. When there's higher demand, there's higher prices, right? So the home that you could potentially buy today, you may not be able to buy if rates drop considerably. And if they do drop considerably, because of the higher price, your mortgage payment, even though rates dropped, may be more than it would be now. Okay, so something to think about. Something to think about. But no, I don't think rates will be dropping by January. From everything that I've read, they should be right about where they are right now. Okay, which is the lowest, almost the lowest we've seen in 3 years. That 6.125 was the lowest in 3 years when it hit that in September. And we've been bouncing between that and about 6.3, 6.4% ever since. Right? So, hope that answers your questions. Do I see us reaching the low fives by 2027? Nope, I do not. I read another article not too long ago that they gave us a 5-year projection of where mortgage rates are going to go, and they based it on the spread. There's a spread between the Treasury yield and the mortgage rates, right? And that spread is usually anywhere from 2 to 2.5 points, right? And so using that spread and where they see the Treasury going over the next 5 years, it pretty much didn't change at all, right? We're sticking right. We're about, between 6 and 6.4%, maybe 5.9 on the nationwide average. But I will say this: do I see us reaching the low fives by 2027? We're already in the low fives right now. Okay, C's 11, 15. We're already there, because when I talk about the nationwide average, that's all different loan types, all different lenders, and all different types of borrowers combined together, right? Here, right now, as a broker, I'm already quoting rates for a lot of borrowers on government loans. So FHA and VA and USDA loans, I'm quoting rates in the low fives already, right? So we're already there for some type of loans and some types of borrowers. So, if when you hear about interest rates, so conventional, low fives, no, I'm still, the lowest I've quoted without points. Now I'm never, when you hear me quote a rate, right, or talk about rates, I should say, it's always without points, right? So 5.875, 5.75 at best is what I've quoted some of my clients as of late on a conventional loan. I don't think we're going to see conventional loans in the low sevens, where I'm quoting that at least, for quite some time, or low fives, excuse me, for quite some time. Okay. But depending upon the loan amount that you're looking at, right? If it's a smaller loan amount, the difference between a 5.75 and a 5.25, so the half point, doesn't move the needle a lot on a house payment. There's just not much of a difference. Now, if it's a larger loan amount, right, then of course the larger the loan amount and the reduction in interest rate can move the needle more on the monthly house payment, right? So hope that all makes sense for you, but I don't see us reaching the low fives for a conventional loan anytime in the near future. I just don't see it. But and I say that from other people and other prognosticators and economists stuff that I've read as well. Okay. So are you looking at buying a home? I bought a 6.6, was just wondering to see when I should look at refinancing. So you bought at 6.6%. How much is your loan amount? Your current loan amount, your mortgage that you have left? C's 115. $610,000. Okay. So you're at, and you know about what your credit score is, C's 1115. $790. Okay. So I'm going to run something for you real quick, just so you can. Okay, so on a $610,000 loan amount, right? And you're currently at 6.6%. Or I don't know what your original loan amount was. How long ago did you get the loan? C's. $5 months ago. Okay. So your loan amount was about $610,000 when you started, because you haven't paid much principal down on that. So, um, so your total your principal and interest payment, I'm suspecting, is about $3,900 a month. Is that about right? Your principal interest on 10 doors, yes, that's the max, Brian. 10 doors, a 10 unit building, you can do a DSCR loan. Yes. And I might have some lenders to do more, but most lenders will do 10. At least one of the ones I work with. So about $3,900 a month. So if you dropped it to 5.875, right? That's going to save you $300 a month. $300 a month. And by the way, Brian, what's your credit score? Brian, the reason why I ask, if you got your credit score, a decent credit score, I've got a lender, a DSCR lender that can do 85% LTV. So you're looking at 15% down, which is pretty darn good for a DSCR loan. So you're saving $300 a month, C's. If you were to refinance now, right? You go from 6.625. I think you said your credit score was 790, around 750. Then yeah, around 750 or 740 or higher, I can get you 85% LTV on a DSCR loan, assuming that you've got a ratio of higher than 1, okay, on the property. So we'd love to be able to help you with that. And I can pretty much do a DSCR loan in any state around the country. So just let me know. If you want to follow me or if you want to schedule a call with me, Brian, I've got a calendar link in my profile. Just hit that link tree, and in the link tree there is a calendar link for you, okay, where you can schedule a call with me. We can talk about what you want to do with your DSCR loan. So C's, as you can see, with a refi, we can get you down to, and I don't know if we could, I haven't seen your file, but if you could get a rate down to 5.875% or lower, that's going to save you $300 a month. Okay, $300 a month. Good morning, Stacy. So that would save you. Okay, perfect. Yeah, please schedule a call, Brian. I love DSCR loans, man. Those things are phenomenal for investors. In case people don't know what a DSCR loan is, a DSCR loan stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio Loan. It's used for buying investment properties only. Can't use it for a primary residence or second home or anything like that. Needs to be only investment property. And we don't look at your income. We don't qualify the borrower based on their income. We qualify it based on the home's income, right? So we look at it as a ratio. So for example, if the home is going to have a mortgage of $2,000, but it has a rental income of $2,500 a month, based on either a current lease in place or a Schedule 1007 on the appraisal, which gives us the average market rent for that property. If it's $2,500 and the mortgage is $2,000, that's a ratio of 1.25, which is a good ratio. That's a good ratio. It's positive cash flow, right? It's above 1. Then we base the loan on that, right? Not on the borrower, but on the house. And it's a commercial loan, so it doesn't show up on your credit report. It's a great product for investors looking to buy real estate as an investment. So if anybody's thinking about that, reach out to me. We can talk about that in more detail. But C's, if you, that's great, Brian. Schedule a call and let's talk about it, buddy. As you can see, C's, if you're still with us, $300 a month is quite a good savings. C's, what state are you located in? Because every month that you don't refinance now, right, that's $300 more. So yeah, it's if you go into my profile and hit the link tree, it's at the very top. It's the Calendly link that has a calendar link, and you can email me as well, rick@rickvegamortgage.com. I mean, whatever's best for you, Brian. But I know it's in the link tree link. It's the very top or the second one from the top. Calendly link, calendar link. You click that and it opens up a calendar. So you can do it that way. But you can email me as well, my friend. No problem. No problem at all. rick@rickvegamortgage.com. So, C's, I think I asked you what I found. Oh, good. Perfect. And there's also the Service Plus button in the lower left-hand corner, folks. If you click that, it opens up and you can leave me your contact information. I can call you as well. But the best way is to schedule a call with me, because I tell you, when I get off these calls, I'm usually extremely busy when I get off these live stream shows, the live show that I do. and I got a lot of clients that I'm helping, and I get really busy. So it's great if you can schedule the call with me. Then you get on my calendar, and we're able to talk that way. Okay. But C's, if you could let me know what state you're located in, I'd love to be able to try to see if we could help you, because every month that you wait to see if interest rates are going to come down more, that's another $300 that you could be savings, right? So that's $3,600 over the course of 1 year. I don't anticipate rates dropping substantially, even a lot, even minimally over the course of the next 12 months from everything I've read. So just an eighth of a payment change, cease if you're still with us, an eighth of a payment change saves you about $40, right? So if you're waiting for interest rates to drop even more, every eighth of a point is going to save you $40, right? But now when you're waiting, every month you wait could be costing you $300, right? So not sure if it makes a lot of sense. If you guys kind of see the thought process I'm going through when people are considering refinancing and waiting to do so, hoping that interest rates are going to drop even more, when everything that I read and all the signs indicate that they're not. They're going to stay. I don't see them going up either. I see them kind of staying where they are, maybe bouncing around an eighth of a point up or down. But at a savings of $300 a month, if we could, in C's case, get a rate of 5.875, that's a lot of money. $300 a month, right? That's a lot of money, and the closing costs for a refi aren't real high. I mean, you have closing costs involved, but they're not going to be super high. So I think it's always something to look into, to see what the numbers look like, and to see if it makes sense for you to refinance, right? Hey, Greg, thanks for joining. The Nurtured Nest Company, thank you for joining. Brian Martin, T. Dom Bro, Tammy Flaff, J. Wolf 55, Mr. Blash. Thank you all for joining the show. I appreciate it. Is real estate in the Gulf Coast slow? So what part of the Gulf Coast are you referring to? Because that goes from Texas all the way down to Florida. So thank you, Greg. Yeah, somebody else told me that. It's weird. It's so weird how sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. We're talking about Service Plus, folks. If you're talking about the Gulf Coast of Florida, it is slow in the sense Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and no luck. All right. One thing, have you offered to cover buyer's closing cost, the Nurtured Nest Company? I don't know. I know in Florida here, the market has slowed down, though it has started to pick up because homeowners have been either reducing their price or offering a seller concession, a seller credit to cover closing costs. And that's kind of getting people, at least here in Florida, and where I am, I'm on the west coast of Florida in Sarasota. So just, about a mile from the beach, 45 miles south of Tampa. And one of the things that you consider doing is, instead of reducing the price of your home there in Mississippi, and it sounds like from what you said, you've got, a lot of great upgrades and new stuff, and probably priced right. But if you're open to, covering the seller's closing costs or the buyer's closing cost up to a certain amount, if you put that in your listing, right, in your description, you're going to get more people looking at the house. Now that's, you can talk with your agent about that, but I always recommend to buyer clients that instead of asking for a reduction off the price of the home, ask for the seller to cover your closing costs, or as much of the closing costs as they can afford to do, because that's cash in the buyer's pocket and helps reduce their out-of-pocket expense and make the home more affordable. And that's the issue we're having right now. The Nurtured Nest Company is the homes aren't affordable for a lot of buyers right now, right? And you've got to get what you've got to get out of your home. I totally understand that, right? Because you paid for what you paid for it, and you invested in what you invested in it. You want to get it back out. I get that too. Yes, absolutely, you can do that. But typically, and I've worked with a lot of buyers, right? And I'm a mortgage officer, right? So I help a lot of buyers buy homes. And I see that a lot on my contracts where the seller is covering their closing costs, especially as of late. So talk with your agent about it. And so depending upon the type of buyer that is looking to buy your home, right? So if they go to buy with a government loan, like a FHA or a VA loan, they can get up to 6% of the purchase price in seller paid concessions or seller paid credit. And if it's a conventional loan, they can get up to 3%. More if they put more money down. There's different ways to do it, but typically it's 3%, right? So if you've got an X amount in mind that you would be willing to spend on a seller paid closing cost, you could put that right into the right, and you have a 2.5% assumable VA loan. Ooh. So how much equity do you have in the property? Because that's another thing that you need to promote. If you have a veteran that can buy that home and they have money for a down payment, because when they assume the loan, they got to cover your equity, right? So if you have, $50,000 in equity in the property, then they're going to need to put $50,000 down in order to assume that loan so you get your equity back out. So you got to keep that in mind. But I would be definitely promoting that. So the only person that could assume that loan would be a vet, right? But if another vet were to buy the house, yeah, that's a good point too. QB5 was to advertise that at any local military base. Yeah, 2.75. Yeah, so they would need to put $72,000 down, unless. Awesome, Brian. I'll talk to you on Friday. I look forward to it. So if a veteran has a $72,000 to put down, then they could assume that. But that's a big chunk, right? That's a big chunk. So the best bet would then be, you can advertise that, but I would also advertise that they could, depending upon what the sales price. What are you asking for the home, Nurtured Nest Company? I don't think you mentioned that in your you're asking 410, so 410,000 times 6%. So the most you could offer in a seller paid concession, and you may not want to offer this much, but I'm just saying the most you could offer is about $24,600 based on a $410,000 purchase price. But in a VA loan, the closing cost on a $410,000 property is not going to be that much. You're probably looking at maybe $12,000 to $15,000 is what the closing costs are going to be. So if you were willing, in your mind, to say, okay, I would take an offer of X, $395,000 if somebody offered you the home right now for that. You could offer 410 and say, I'll pay closing costs up to X, or just say we'll cover your closing costs, and then when you get an offer, you say you'll cover the closing costs up to a certain amount. So it's going to get more people to look at your house. It's going to get more people to go in and check it out and give it serious consideration, because that's just, you think if you got a veteran that's going to come in, if they were going to buy the house, they would have the zero down because it's a VA loan if it's a veteran, and they're going to get their closing costs covered. So they're going to walk into the house with no money out of their pocket, and you're going to get your house sold. Just something. It's not a manipulation of numbers or words at all, because you're covering their closing costs up to a certain amount. That's cash in their pocket, right? If they've got $25,000 to put towards a house and you're covering 15 of it, that's 15,000 they keep in their pocket. So it's not at all the same. Car dealers, they're going to, finagle this and finagle that and hide this and hide that. It doesn't work that way with our business. So I'm just trying to give you some ideas and ways to help you sell your house more quickly, and at the same time helping a buyer make a home more affordable, right? If somebody came in tomorrow and offered you $400,000 for your house, would you take it, Nurtured Nest Company? That's an interesting question. If somebody were to offer you $400,000 for your house, you would take it. So if you put in your ad, I'll give up to $10,000 in closing costs, covering your closing costs for a full price offer, right? It's the same exact thing. but you're just giving the credit back at closing so they can use that towards their closing costs or buying down their interest rate. They could do that too. $10,000 will buy an interest rate way down too, which makes what? Home more affordable, right? So, Christina Sharp, does FHA require reserves? Not always, but sometimes. It's not an absolute requirement, but sometimes reserves are required. You're going to see that more often on a conventional loan, but sometimes there are requirements for that. TL Pike, thanks for joining the show. Yeah, I would get with your agent if you're willing to take 410. Then offer 10,000 in closing costs, covering in closing costs. That's saving people a lot of money. Right? And if you're looking for a house, anybody out there, you're looking for a house in Mississippi. They're in where'd you say you were? You were in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Nurture Nest Company has a home for you, and she'll cover part of your closing costs. There you go. Maybe we'll find you a buyer. Nurtured Nest Company. Maybe we'll find you a buyer, and that would be great. That would be awesome if we could find you a buyer, and that means we've got somebody that has also found themselves a home, which is always a great thing. Always a great thing. So Christina Sharp, are you looking to buy a home? If you're looking to buy a home, I'd love to help. So you're moving across the country in January. Well, Nurtured Nest Company, if you're going to buy a home, I'd love to be able to help you. I'd love to be able to help you with the financing of your next home. Where are you moving to? You're moving from Mississippi to California? Are you moving north, west? Where are you going? Because we're licensed in 48 out of 50 countries. You're moving to Arkansas. So you're okay. Christina Sharp, you're in Arkansas. Okay. Well, Christina, this is one thing I always say. Oh, good. Yeah, I wouldn't buy out there in California either. You talk about expensive. Expensive properties out there. So, Christina, this is one thing I always tell everyone. Okay, you're in the process of buying one. You're in Arkansas. Are you already under contract? Because I always say you should always get at least, and maybe you have. That's great. But you should always get at least 2 quotes. Should always get at least 2 quotes when you are refinancing a home or buying a home, because you want to make sure that you're getting the best rate and terms and cost, right? Lowest cost possible, right? It's just like buying a car, like we were talking about with the Nurtured Nest Company. When you buy a car, typically you go to more than one dealership, right? And you want to make sure that when you're buying that car or different models that you test drive them, and you figure out which one's best for you, and which one's going to get the best price, and it's going to have the lowest insurance cost, all that kind of stuff, right? Same thing with buying a house, but on a much bigger scale, because houses don't cost $35,000 or $40,000; they cost $350,000 or $400,000, right? So it's a much, much bigger investment. You should always get at least 2 quotes, right? So Christina Sharp, if you haven't gotten at least 2 quotes, and even if you are currently under contract, I'd be happy to provide you a quote. Because here's why. You could take that quote that I'm going to give you. And, of course, I want to be able to earn your business and get your business, because that's how I feed my family. That's how I make a living. But if I can't, at least you can take the quote that I give you and go back to your lender and say, hey, I've got this lender that can give me this quote, give me this deal. You either got to match it or I'm moving, right? So in the process, I can help you save some money if you're already under contract, okay? So if you're still with us, Christina Sharp, I'd love to be able to, hey, I like that when they do that. I would love to be able to give you a quote and see what we could do to save you some money, either with working with me or working with your current lender to save you some money. Well, you're in a mess right now. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. They have been telling me I was approved for a month now. Friday, they told you what? That you weren't? That makes me so angry when I hear that. What was the reason why they told you that, Christina? What was the reason why they told you that there's an issue now? Because I suspect that's what you're going to tell me. They say there's an issue now. You need $3,000 into reserves for DTI. What's your debt to income ratio? Currently, did they tell you that? They didn't tell you that. Okay. When's the house scheduled to close? And if you don't mind telling me, who's your current lender? I hate to hear that. And I suspect you don't have the $3,000 in reserves. It was scheduled to close October 10th, and my lender is Orion Lending. Okay, so you're using a broker. You're using a broker, and they chose Orion. Yeah, Orion's not a super popular lender, at least not with us. I mean, that doesn't make them a bad lender, but they're just not super popular with us. Our brokers here don't use Orion a ton. So you were scheduled to close October 10th, and has the whole deal fallen apart because you don't have the 3,000 in reserves? And is this something that they're saying FHA is saying or their underwriters are saying? Just kind of curious. I would so where are you currently? Are you just at a standstill in the loan, or are you trying to come up with the $3,000? What's the current situation? And has the seller, they told me I need to find another home, but I thought I could use a 401k. The underwriter told me. Yeah, you can use your 401k. You typically have to borrow against it, or you can get what's called a hardship release, and you can take money out of it without having paying a penalty. For it depends upon the servicer of each 401k how you can use it. But so this particular deal fell through then on this particular home, and so you're out looking for another home now. No, you need to have filed your tax returns, Derek, right? You need to have filed your tax returns, but you don't necessarily have to show your returns in order to qualify for a home. A lot of times we don't need tax returns. We just need to show that you filed your taxes through a tax transcript. Yes, you can give me a call, Christina. Absolutely. There's my number, 941-500-4064, or you can also fill up the Service Plus button in the lower left-hand corner, and I can give you a call and we can talk about your situation. And I'd love to try to help you. I hate to see that. I'd love to try to help you. But otherwise, you can just give me a call by all means. So Derek, yeah. So if you haven't filed those 2 years of tax returns, you'll need to get them filed. Otherwise, it can pose problems. But if you have filed them, we don't use them all the time. Sometimes it's required, but many times we can just use a W-2, or we can use the pay stubs, or a combination of the two. If you only filed 1 year, then you'd need to get the other one filed, without a doubt. Yeah. What type of loan are you looking to do? Have you already found a home? Are you working with a lender, or you're just kind of getting yourself ready, and that's you want to make sure FHA. Okay, you would definitely have to have the tax returns filed. And which year haven't you done? 24? Because if you haven't done 24, if you file the tax return and then you owe money, then you either have to have it paid, Derek, or you have to have a payment plan set up, right? And payments started. So it's got to be that the payment plan has been set up and you've already made at least one payment, all right? Then you could use that. So no, you don't owe. Okay, well then, as long as it's filed and you don't owe, then just get that 24 filed, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And if you haven't been pre-approved, Derek, I'd love to be able to help you, right? So as you heard me telling Christina, you always want to have at least 2 quotes when you're applying for a mortgage, so you can kind of compare the two together, at least the two. and to see if you're, where you're getting the best rates, you're getting the best terms, everything like that, right? So I would love to be able to help you. What state are you in, Derek? And it'll be your first filing. That'll be okay. That's okay. But you just have to get it filed. You have to get it filed, okay? You're in Virginia. Perfect. We can help you in Virginia. So if you want to give me a follow, you want to hit that Service Plus button down there in the lower left-hand corner of my live stream and give me your contact information. I'll reach out to you. I can get you pre-approved, truly pre-approved, without having to do a hard pull in your credit report. We do a soft pull when we run you through our system with an underwriter. We actually have underwriters here at the one brokerage where I am, which is unusual. You don't have underwriters at a broker firm. You typically only have underwriters at the lender, but we underwrite you first before we turn you over to a lender. So we know you're truly pre-approved. There's not going to be any issue with you, right, as the buyer, with your income, with your credit, with your employment, with your assets. That's all approved. So when you do actually put an offer on a house, the only thing that has to be approved then is the appraisal and the title for that particular property. And then you close. So it makes for a much quicker closing, a much less stressful closing, right? And you're good. So like in Christina's case, we would have caught that issue if there is an issue prior to even putting an offer on a house, right? So it's really, really good stuff. So I'd love to be able to help you. So let's do that. Let's see, what other, did I miss any questions? I don't think so. If anybody else has any questions, you filled it out. Perfect, Derek. I will give you a call, my friend. Excuse me. Let's see, Tracy, Mr. Blash, Rusty, Brian, Martin, Jay Wolf, and Kaner. Hey, Kaner J. Bird, by the way, I just saw you sent me an email. I appreciate that. And Derek, you guys, I appreciate you all jumping on the show this morning. I do this show every weekday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. We're past 10 a.m., but I'll stay on if anybody else has any questions. I always happy to stay on, answer your questions, see what I can do to help you out, because you know what? That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you understand the mortgage process, understand the application process, understand why it's so important to get at least 2 quotes when you're applying for a mortgage, and let me be one of them. Yes, I want to earn your business, but at the end of the day, if you're getting 2 quotes and mine's not the lowest, then you're getting a phenomenal deal, because usually mine's the lowest, right? But you're getting a phenomenal deal, and at the end of the day, that's what's the most important thing, right? That's what's the most important thing. So again, I do this show every weekday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on TikTok. If you haven't followed me, please follow me. That way you'll get my content in your feed every day. I do a mortgage market update at the end of every day where I talk about what's going on with the interest rates, what's going on with the mortgage and the housing industry. And that's all that information is there to help you become more knowledgeable, and helps you when you're actually going to buy a home or when you're looking to refinance a home, any of those things, okay? So, hey, go out and make it a great day. I will see you guys tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on TikTok. And if anybody doesn't have any other questions, we'll call it a day. And thank you, Jeffy, for liking the live. I appreciate it. Any other questions before we end it? I'm here to help. Any questions you got? Jay Wolf, if you have a lot of questions, we'll call you. Hey, please do. 941-500-4064. If I don't answer, leave me a voicemail. I promise I'll call you back. It's just a lot of times I'm on the phone, right? So leave me a voicemail and I will call you back. All right. Anything else, folks? I don't want to leave anybody hanging out there before we end it. Okay. All righty, folks, go out and make it a great day, and we'll talk tomorrow. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.